Rise and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first order of business this evening is a public hearing regarding a grant.
Excuse me. Well, as Fred said, this is an official public hearing for a snow application to Indiana Office of Clerical Affairs. This is for your water project. The town did try and submit in the first round of 2016, and we were not successful in receiving it. I have not heard the comments of why we didn't get it. I think as soon as we submit our letter of intent, we'll come back out and do a site visit and we'll hear more about the comments of where we could score higher in our application and such. I know it's a very competitive funding round. Being it's our first time in, it just makes it that much more tough. Plus, they didn't fund very many. I think they funded about $6 million projects, $6 million worth of projects. So if everybody's asking for 500 or 700,000 like we are, then it's maybe 10 to 12 communities about funded in the drinking water program. So just not very many. So I don't know if the state is holding on to more money for round 2 and we can fund more then, or what. I've asked how much money they have for round 2 and they have not told us that figure yet. So we're just reapplying. We'll have a letter of intent that's going to go in August 19th, which is next Friday. Final application is due October 14th, and mid-November is when we get the grant.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
If we don't know what the reason was for turning us down, I'm wondering if the statistics that we submitted to them for our grant, if that's something we should change, or if it can be changed, or...
I'm sure there's more information we can submit. I'm going to get with Andy, talk more about some of the water boil orders that you have, more about your water main breaks, kind of beef up that need. We did get a lot of letters of support. We can always gather more. I think it's probably just gathering some more
data. More,
to make it competitive. It truly, I think we're competing with a lot of communities that had already been into the program.
Yeah.
They've already tweaked up their application, and like I said, they just can't fund everybody. It's just, it's that competitive. So, you guys have a great project, so I don't think it's a matter of if you get funding, it's just a matter of when.
How soon would you know if and when there'll be a second round for, and if there's going to be any money available?
There is money.
Oh,
There is money available, yes. I just don't know how much.
Oh, okay.
So, typically they have $27 million to hand out.
Well, I didn't know if
And
that was
this time
something
only
they
handed out
submitted.
$6 million. So,
A certain date or buying, monthly deal or what, whether
well,
the
we'll
government
submit
says.
our letter of intent next Friday.
Okay.
The final application, October 14th. Mid-November, I'm not sure, there is a date. I just don't know what that date is, of when they'll make the announcements. But even on that date, I'm not gonna hold them to it, because even this round, they said they were gonna, I think, July 18th or something, if they didn't do it then, they did it the following day. So, and it all stems from what's happening at the governor's office right now.
Okay.
We're at the grace of Lieutenant Governor's schedule right now, so the governor. So, that, November's gonna be a crazy month for them.
Sure.
So, mid-November is when we'll hear on this pressure.
Can we put anything in that, in our grant app as far as like how it affects the safety and welfare of the community with the mains being undersized, with the type
Yes,
of modern fire trucks and things, that it requires larger size mains? Because a lot of this project is in like a 3-inch, mainly they're 3-inch water mains that don't have the volume for these new pumper
Right.
trucks and
we
things.
mentioned that, but I think if we can get, if you would want to write a letter and express your concerns with that, we do have one for the fire department. They did write us a letter.
Okay.
if we can actually document a fire or something that happened of a fire and safety issue that you know of?
I'm not real sure of any situation, but I know it can happen in these trucks that they're producing now, require a large volume, and they want to know what size water mains. I actually, a few years ago, I think it's been 2 years ago, the fire department down there wanted a copy of my water system, so they would know what size water mains they were hooking on to because of the way them trucks were. They'll pull water out of there and they can collapse water mains.
Yeah, you know, I think it might get, I'm kind of brainstorming of what we could do. So maybe it's getting with you and Andy and, well, let's get a map and say, here's where the lines are, here's where the fire department cannot hook onto. You know, I did go around and took some pictures of some of the fire hydrants and showed how small they were, and how old they were. But, you know, let's actually put them on a map and say, hopefully there's not a fire on this street, because,
IDEM, really usually when they do a project, they want all your system looped together, so you got good circulation of the water distribution system, and, that some of these areas are dead-ended areas and things that we're trying to make loop, and also the 3-inch water mains that are too small and undersized for that type of fire protection stuff, so we need to get something in there about that.
after we submit the letter of intent, is it Jerry White or Jennifer that is our liaison? I think it's Jennifer. I know they came together.
Yeah.
Jennifer, she'll come out and she'll go through the scoring comments and, let us know where we fell short, where we might be doing something different.
Okay.
But that'll be probably in September sometime. So the purpose of the hearing tonight is really gather question, comments. Anybody have any comments or something?
Any questions from the board tonight?
Alrighty.
Is there a motion that we close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close the public hearing for the water project.
Second. All in favor?
Fred, I have a place that you need to sign.
Okay.
This is just the letter of intent. And Robin, when I submit this, I'll CC you a copy of it. Get it for you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, we'll move on to business of the evening. First of all, we have approval of minutes of the prior meeting. We had a regular scheduled meeting on July 26th.
Thanks, Amy.
Here a second. Waiting on a second.
Second.
Approving.
Second, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the second meeting was an executive session that was held July the 28th.
I make a motion to approve the second meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to our reports tonight. Andy, give your utilities, report, please.
Yeah, the plant's treated 563,060 gallons of water since July 26th. Our average daily usage is 40,218. Filters were backwashed on the 1st and the 12th of this month. Our August back to east complete and was absent. We repaired 2 service line leaks and 1 water main leak. July water report is complete and has been submitted to IDEM. And then the Alliance of Indiana Rural Water came out and performed a water leak audit. We checked all the fire hydrants and the valves, with the exception of 4 valves that we couldn't locate. And we found leaks on 2 hydrants, the one by the library and one on Meridian. We're losing about 15,000 a day. That's where our leak is, and our discrepancy on our water Wi-Fi report between the 2. The parts to replace them and adding valves, it's going to be 42,1860. should lower our consumption. Should get us around 30,000 gallons a day, which is what we're billing for right now. So I don't know, I want to, I know we're gonna be doing this, we got a Bex is gonna do a water main extension. I'd really like to talk to those contractors about these items. You know, if we get the parts, get them in stock, to be able to do it. I'd like to get approval to get the parts, because we're losing a lot more than that. You know, it's about 5 million gallons a year right now.
These parts, is that new hydrant and valve?
It's a steamer, the boot, 6-inch line, a valve, the glam packs, and then a Hymax to go from C900 to AC. Because they're stuck with AC now, but we don't have valve. None of the original hydrants have valves on them. So I'm definitely going through it. Definitely want to put a valve on it because
On those high maxes, those retaining gland packs on the end to lock them down, so you can take that off without blowing it off there.
the gland packs, be a gland pack and a mega load ring for everything to the valve, but then it'll just be a Hymax between the AC and the C900.
Is there any way to lock it down on there? Because if you shut that valve off, it can still blow that off at high max.
Well, if we're gonna do that, I'd have to get another quote from Brian, because then we'd have to cut that water main and put a T at the main. I was just gonna put a thrust block behind it
Yeah.
and put concrete behind the hydrant. But I mean, I can get a price, because the T, it'll have, most of them I've dug up where it's a T is a cast iron T.
T on the main.
On the concrete, but it's so corroded that you can't get it apart. I tried one time to get one apart, and we ended up having to cut it out and replace it. But I don't know, I'm just guessing, those tees are probably $400 or $500 a piece. But I can get the parts for it if you want. We can cut the tee out and couple it at the main and then run, new from the tee back through the hydrant.
All thread or retain on,
Yeah.
no, the only reason why I was asking is because, you still,
I don't
you're
think
putting a
so.
valve there, you put the valve in and it ain't retained down onto the nipple coming off of the main or whatever going to that hydrant, it'll still blow that valve and everything off, so you really still can't take the hydrant off.
Well, the valves would be, we'd have the hydrant with the boot, piece of C900 with mega lugs on it, and then another piece of C900 with a mega lug on it coming out of the valve, and the Hymax between them is what I had a quote. So then if we want to do a T, if we want to replace that T on the main and do a mega lug on it, then we'd have to couple the main into the T.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll talk to Brian about it and ask him, because I took him, one thing I did look at, even he said it's probably not cost effective, because the seats in the hydrants are damaged, and they're almost 50 years old, and they don't have a steamer fitting on them for the fire truck now. And even he recommended not rebuilding them. He said he's seen that old that got rebuilt, and they still leaked when they were done.
Yeah.
So to do all that work and dig it up and, shut down a section of town to do it, and then hook it back up to only have it leak, I don't even really want to risk that. Plus we're gonna get an upgraded hydrant for fire protection. So, but I can get a quote on the additional parts. I guess it's gonna be around $1,000.
If you think this will work, I just was, I'm looking at it, still, the whole purpose of putting a valve on most, on a fire hydrant, so you can remove the hydrant by shutting just that valve off, not shutting the main and everything down, but if it's not restrained to the other line, you can still blow that valve off, that pressure up against that valve is what I was looking at.
Yeah, it'll be retained, we'll be good through the valve. The connection will be between the stub out of the valve and the stub off the original main. Because we don't have, other than a Hymax, they don't have anything to get us from AC AC to C900.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, other than really the only kind of mechanical strain you can put on the AC, which they, I mean, I've dug up and seen it done, is, you know, just all thread, I mean,
All
mechanical restraint hooks, you know,
Yeah.
between two segments. They got those clamps.
Go around the outside of it.
Yep.
And hold it on, stick it with ball thread.
Yeah. And then been performing the other checks, the lift stations, the ponds, and the SSO during rain events. Sewer plant's closed and we're not discharging. The weekly sewer samples are complete. And we have received our new NPDES permit, and we'll be reviewing that for any errors or comments. Got a period there. It's supposed to be exactly like the preliminary one they sent us, but I'm gonna just go through them, make sure they're the same, and if it is, it's what we've been operating on already since we brought the plant online with the new chlorination system. I am working on the report for Endeavor. I've not sent it to them. I'm actually gonna, I've seen a lot of different things out on the spring weeds, so I'm taking some pictures. So there's no argument with these guys. I'm giving them a report with photographs of each location numbered with street or alley intersection, just so, and tell them, you know, this is it, it's all right here. I didn't see it, I didn't hear about it, or whatever. I'm gonna be getting that to them as soon as possible so we can have these issues resolved before festival. But I've been spraying weeds. I'm gonna be finishing that up this week. Ron Hammond gave me a quote for $400 on these trees down there in front of the hotel, and they should be done within the next 2 weeks. And then we're gonna need to get a load of playground mulch. It's okay. 100 yards is gonna cost us around $2,000. But I'd like to get that done before festival. We're starting to get a little thin over there. Then under building, had 3 inspections, 2 building permits issued, 1 electrical permit, we've had 1 permit inquiry and 1 zoning inquiry. And then our July census report's complete, and I've submitted that. So, if you got any questions, that's all I have for right now.
I think on the playground mulch, I was just looking at that, I didn't know that was coming down the pipe. I think we should pay for it out of festival. The park doesn't make any money, and there's only $5,100 in there. We still have a CD, but, you
Sure.
know, I think we just need to take that out of festival fund.
Okay. Needs to be done.
On that, fire hydrant repair materials, Robin, does that come out of the depreciation fund or operating?
Depreciation.
Depreciation.
Yeah.
So we've got
Line
money,
603, yeah,
we've got money in there to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
If we got the money in there, I'd
Makes
say
me-
either way we do that, I'd like to make a motion and go ahead and approve Andy to get the material, get that
I'll second.
repaired, with us leaving that kind of water, and you get that fixed as soon as possible.
Well, I want to try to talk to those guys too. I talked to Corey Robinson earlier today about their project out there and extending that water main. But I also want to get a price on doing that, replacing that 1 fire hydrant that's on Kaufman, which I've got the material for that.
Kaufman.
Or, I said Kaufman, I
Adams.
meant Adams, I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
on Adams.
The one halfway down in between.
Yeah, there's one there. And do, you know, if we do all 3 of them, because I know when all this transpires, the day all this stuff transpires, I mean, we're gonna have to have some shutdowns around it. I got some areas I just can't valve off, so it's gonna be some fairly big areas.
Now, were you looking at doing these fire hydrant repairs yourself, or were you gonna look at hiring
Well,
these
that's
guys
why I
to
wanna
do it?
talk to them about it, because I can't do a fire hydrant by myself.
I didn't know if you were gonna have Murray or somebody, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, I was gonna talk to
Help
him
you do
about
it,
it, he
Ron.
helped me with the water main leak the other day. See what his schedule is, 'cause meeting with just the 2 of us, that's kind of the reason I wanna get, at least get a price from them. I mean, I don't think we're gonna do more than 1 a day.
Would that would, if we were to hire a labor, would that come out of the depreciation fund also, if we had them to do, reset those?
We'd have to amend the salary ordinance, so that.
No,
Well,
I mean, if we hire a
we wouldn't.
contractor. Yeah.
No, if I hire a contractor, does
We
it
could do
come,
that, yeah.
comes out of the depreciation fund for them to just replace those
You're not
hydrants?
talking
that
about a part-time position.
No, I'm talking about
No, I was
hydrants.
talking about depreciation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I was gonna get a price from them, they don't know yet whether they're gonna do their stuff in-house out there, if they're hiring a contractor for the utility work.
Mhm.
But I was thinking about, either way, get a price from them, and get a price, I thought from Steve Hartley also, just get a couple different prices, I ain't thought about Scott Gasho, I don't know, but to get a few. And see, but those hydrants are leaking about between 6 and 7 gallons a minute right now, each.
Should you see any water above ground, there's a leak, so you won't notice it anyway.
Well, you know, the one right by, the one up there, well, they got gravel bed under them, I mean, they're made to drain down, so even, and who knows if they stud something over to it, there's a storm drain right next to the one on Main Street, So,
What does it cost us to produce a gallon of water? Do you know, do you have that figure?
I don't, I'd have to look and see, I mean, and break it down, but I mean, I know we're spending more than that, on that, and they really,
Obviously, it needs to be fixed.
the Alliance said he said it's really not that unusual. And for that leak, I mean, as far as that goes, I know it's a lot for us on our daily production, but it's not that big, because I've got it down tight. I mean, we've been running, we have fluctuations, but if you take our daily average, what we're producing at the plant over the whole year, even over like the last 3 years, we're fluctuating between 40 and 45. We're right in there. And these things have been leaking forever. They're not new leaks. So.
A considerable amount of money going on the drain.
Well, should we go ahead and approve, Andy getting 3 quotes and going with the cheapest quote of the 3 contractors so we can move forward with this?
Think it is?
So we can go ahead and get it scheduled to get it done before.
I'll make a motion and gets 3 quotes from 3 different guys.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll still let you know before I do anything. When we get them, I'll put them in your mailboxes.
That way we can move forward with it instead of waiting another 2 weeks to get
Yeah.
through the
Keep
quotes.
losing more water.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you, Andy. Andy's not here tonight, so,
On
Rod,
duty.
you have anything to share this evening as far as, okay. We'll move on to old business tonight. Old business.
I don't know, Fred, if it's old business or new business or whatever, but the baseball diamond. We mentioned last week, or last meeting or so, about telephone poles out there, and a little discussion about that, and whether we wanted to see about them guys putting that fence up that they had brought. I've had a lot of people ask me, and so has Andy, about those poles since they see them out there, what we're doing with them. There's a lot of people that's interested in telephone poles. And if we're not gonna use those, we're gonna put the fence up, I'd like to see if the council could, we could make a decision what we wanna do, whether we wanna set those poles in the ground, like Andy's original intention was, or if we want to get hardware for the chain link fence, and put that up, or I've even seen where they put the chain link fence on the 4x4 posts, or the 2x4 top and bottom. So, I personally would rather see the chain link fence up myself, but, and if we put the chain link fence up, we don't need all those poles. We're just gonna line the parking bumpers, so a lot of them wouldn't need. And I don't wanna get stuck with a bunch of telephone poles out there that, that we don't need, cause you can't hardly get rid of telephone poles, but that creosote in them. So, what you guys' thoughts about that, and,
Well, I think if we move forward with the fence, I would like to see it done correctly. We
With the rest
mentioned,
of the field.
yeah, that, and from a maintenance standpoint, we can avoid wood. I know you mentioned using a 4x4 post, and over time, those rot. Generally, we have a maintenance issue down the road. If we do install that fence, I would like to see it metal post and done,
Do we still have that money, Robin, in that fund that we put in there originally that we set aside for maintenance down
The
there?
ball field fund is 1982. We said 5 and we left it in the building fund down there. We've transferred money since then for legal fees, so, I mean, it's still there, but I don't know what we have any.
Well, the other thing,
Do we wanna move forward with the chain link fence versus the posts in the ground with the cable through them, or? I
What's
think
the
it
deal
would look,
with the fence that they have? Are
They
we-
got-
we just don't have hardware for it.
they got the
Can
chain
we
link,
just get hardware?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, it's gonna be significant, I don't know how much, I haven't measured the footage of it, but the other thing in all this, we're gonna have to make a jog in it, or we're gonna have to talk with Alan Farley and get some kind of a written agreement, because we're going across to him, part of that parking lot's his, and so's the ball cage.
Well,
so's
you
the
know.
batting cage.
I'd say just do an offset right there on that south side of the drive and put it on our property. Or set the whole thing back where it's right on our property, and,
I don't care. I just wanna mention, a lot of people don't know it.
sure. I would like to talk to someone from Orange Baseball, see what their intentions are,
I'd like to have a meeting, if we could
Yeah,
get set a meeting up with them, because,
how things have gone, and, what their ideas are for
Well,
the future.
I was just-
Obviously, we entered into an agreement with them, long-term, but at the same time,
part of
I
that
don't know
agreement,
what their expectations are.
well, part of that agreement was, they offered to help mow and trim and things
Right.
like that, and, so far Andy and Kurt was taking care of that, and now that we're down to one guy, that's something that I'd like to discuss with them also, is that, they step forward now that they're shorthanded. I mean, before, it was being taken care of. Now, we're needing their assistance out there to go ahead and maintain some of that. And part of the agreement was they would do that, they were willing to do that, so.
Do you have his number, or do you want me to email?
I had Steve, Johnny wanted, I was gonna give him Steve's number. He
Okay.
wanted the email from you.
Could you send me Steve and Joe's information?
Sure.
Their emails and their phone numbers.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have it,
Done the right
We
way.
could
Yeah,
come up
more
and talk to
secure.
them, we put that fence across, I think it would look a lot nicer. The cable across there, I have some concerns about with, being a cable and not, see it, and kids, like I said, we know they go out there and ride their go-karts and four-wheelers and all that, and one of them go flying across and not see that cable, get caught on the damn thing, create a liability issue or something, I don't know, but I think the fence, if we could hook right to the outfield of the big field and come right straight west and then go across the property line and put a gate across if we wanted to close the drive off or whatever, I think it would look a lot nicer and match into what we got. And, we wouldn't necessarily have to go down,
All the way to
on the
rookie
other,
field.
on the south side, we wouldn't have to take it back to the small field and tie it in because it's plenty far enough off the drive and, they'd have to drive across the field and, across Allen's property and up over that farm field to get in behind that, so we could just do it in L shape with the fence.
So you say we have the fence, we just don't have the hardware.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care just how many, they got 2,000 or 3,000 feet of fence.
Is that in good shape though?
Oh, it's like new, they got it donated, it's.
Shame they didn't grab the hardware with it because hardware's an expensive part of chain link
We got it at the water
fence.
plant because it'll be enough to replace some of the fence that's been damaged out there too. There's damaged fence and things, but, on another note, I left it
No
out.
post and no hookups.
I left it out of my report, I forgot to put it in there, but I do have, I'm hopefully having this week, one of them was actually here today, prices on the roofs, from the storm damage, Rob, we did get that check. Rob put it in there, and then, cause it was everything out there, plus the stuff in town. And the insurance just said if there's some kind of discrepancy, let them know, so they can work with us on it.
Let's try to set up a meeting with them and
Sounds good.
see where we're at.
In the meantime, Andy, could you get measurement on the footage?
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna do
maybe
tomorrow.
get a hold of a fence company or somewhere we can buy that hardware and kind of get a ballpark figure of what it might take to put that fence up that we have, with us purchasing hardware. That way we'll have an idea of what it would cost for the hardware to use that chain link fence. I think it would look a lot nicer with the chain link fence matching
Yeah.
all the way around, and, you know, we could put a taller gate or a small gate, whatever we wanted across the drive if we chose to do so.
Any other new business this evening? I guess we'll move to new business. Dylan?
About the field.
Yeah,
How long is their contract for?
there's not a specific time.
Oh, so it's not a specific time contract? Just whenever?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Till,
Yeah.
through 17, wasn't it?
3 years?
The rest of this
Yeah.
was
I'm
17.
sorry.
Yeah.
3 years?
Year and a half. I think it was through 17 if
Two
I'm
and a
not.
half.
2.5 years?
It was through 18?
I didn't know if they were still taking care of it or not, because I see our town guys down there mowing all the time, that's why I was just curious.
Yeah, and that's something we're gonna have a meeting about. Originally, they were talking about mowing, and of course, coordinating when they could be there and getting the mowers and whatnot was an issue, and Andy said at this present time, he'd rather just go ahead and take care of the mowing and that thing, that way he knows who was on the mower and they weren't getting tore up.
We
in trucks.
fixed the concession stand, the town, concession stand, the plumbing, the fence, we're doing all that, is that what we're doing down there?
I'll fix the plumbing.
You fixed
Plumbing,
it?
sorry.
Valve to replace.
I thought they were supposed to take care of all that, remember when you told me,
Yeah.
Fred, is that right?
Yeah, that was,
Okay, I was just
we partnered with them, basically. I mean, it's, you know, we still own it.
Yeah, I know, I asked you the first time that I would mow it, take care of it, and you told me no. So I didn't understand why you told me no, and you tell them yes. So, I'm just curious,
We sat up there that night.
because, you know, I took care of it, maintained that field, and then you told them they could come in, and they were gonna take care of it, not, for me not to touch it. So I didn't touch it, and you see what it looks like now. So what have they been doing?
I can't say for sure, Dylan.
Absolutely nothing. Makes me mad, really does. I just wanna say my piece.
Okay.
So I worked my butt off down there, and I offered everything they offered. And you said no. They come in, they say yes. They're from out of town. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I'm done. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions?
My only comment is, I didn't see a whole lot getting done down there before. I don't know what's getting done now, but it was getting pretty bad shambles. So, there needs to be a lot more than just one person working down here.
I had, as soon as they gave me permission, and I said I would take care of all of it, and they said, no, just take care of the field you're gonna use. As soon as he said yes, I had a Kubota down there, still got filled up, took care of all that. I asked, I would mow it, no, we'll take care of it. I maintained it, drug it every single other day. My wife did, had the kids down there on team, picking weeds, cleaning up trash out of the dugout. Maintaining that section, he told me to maintain. That's what I did.
I know
So
what
I just don't understand why you backdoor me, is the big thing, because I called a week prior to that meeting with Onyx Orange, and let you know that I was still down there, or somebody in here that I was still down there and what was going on.
Dylan,
It just, you know, I'm from here. All I ask is for 4 hours out of the week. And now I gotta go down there and ask permission, even though my town dollars are paying for it from somebody else who doesn't live here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a big thing.
well, you know, Dylan, when this started, if you recall, I was coming down here mowing that ball diamond after it was abandoned and it was turned, before the legal paperwork was all signed.
Absolutely.
You stopped by and talked to me about that.
Yes, sir, I did.
And I told you to come to the town council meeting. One board member cannot approve anybody doing anything. And you come to one meeting and discuss some things and you got upset and left that meeting.
No, I didn't get upset and left.
Yeah, that meeting, you walked out the door and you were upset that meeting.
I shook
And
his hand, and I talked to you after that meeting as well.
when you come down here, and I'm talking about you talked to me after that, because you asked me if I thought that you pissed anybody off, and I said, yeah, you very well could have, and you said you were gonna come back to the meeting and you were gonna apologize and explain your position and how you, why, you know.
And I talked to him after that.
But you didn't talk to the board, and I said, I asked you
4
to.
kids, and I worked nonstop.
Well, I understand, you know, everybody's busy, but the way you gotta go about this is the way they did. I told you to come up here, talk to the board. I didn't have a problem with you doing that, but you had to get approval from the council. I couldn't tell you to go out there and play on that diamond. I told you not to be playing out there as far as I knew, because we didn't have insurance, it wasn't over to us yet, and you went ahead and started using the field, and
Yes,
you
I did.
drug it, and you took care of it.
I did it after they gave me permission to do it, after you guys took control of it.
Well, this was before.
By a verbal handshake agreement with that man right there.
Well,
And you, and him.
I never told you I told you you couldn't because I didn't have a problem. I said I didn't have a problem with you using it, but we did not have it, ownership of it. And until then,
It
we
was
could not
still in the
approve
ball league.
anybody to go
The
out
ball
there.
league had it at that point in time, because it was in.
It was still in their name, so it was in limbo.
Yes, and I
Okay.
asked who was in control of that, Misty and Josh, is that correct?
That was who the
Yes,
last
I
president
asked
of
them,
it
And they
was.
said that was fine, because it was still in their control. And then I came here the next day, and I asked, that's all I want to do is use it, that's all I want. I
Well,
have
and
2 teams now.
And I explained to you, you needed to come up here and talk to council and get approval. One person can't give you, I couldn't, just like that, I told you that I couldn't give you approval. I didn't have a problem with you doing it.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be an agreement. We gotta know what you're wanting to do, when you're wanting to use it, we need insurance. I still haven't heard that you've
I
submitted
had
any
insurance, I
insurance.
showed my insurance paper that night I was in here. I have insurance on all those girls.
But did you give it to the Orange yet? Because they're required by part of their agreement that anybody that comes onto that field
I
shows
showed them my
liability.
insurance.
Do they have a copy of it so that, because they're supposed to be
asked for it.
submitting, they're supposed to be submitting it to us. No teams are allowed to be on that field unless they're submitting their insurance of liability, because if somebody got hurt without insurance, then we could be held accountable also.
Yes.
So, and this is something that's gonna be discussed with the Orange, because this is one of the things that they're in agreement. We told them that you couldn't even play out there unless they agreed on it, because they have a contract and the agreement with the town of Atlanta that they are in full control of who plays out there and who doesn't. Part of that agreement is whoever they allow on that field is to give them a copy of their insurance, every team, not just one team that comes out there and they bring 4 or 5 others. Every team that comes on that diamond is supposed to have a copy of their insurance given to them, and they're supposed to submit it to Robin.
I
So-
showed him my insurance, he never asked for a copy of it.
That's something that we need to
That's my
address.
problem.
But, the thing about, I don't know what you talked to Fred. I know there was an issue out there. And Fred ended up being out there for about 4 or 5 hours is what I heard. And I heard one side of the story. I don't know, and I don't care. But I told you what you needed to do was come up here and talk to this board after that first
apologize.
meeting. And so, to me, you didn't get backdoored. You had the opportunity before they even knew anything about this.
That's why I
That's-
talked to that man right there.
Well,
I thought it was a
I-
handshake and agreement. He
I
said
already-
I could use it. But
Well,
that's fine.
I
I
bet-
don't care. You know what?
but-
I really don't care.
but it ain't that we want anybody from outsiders. And it's like we told them, whoever uses that diamond, this is a community baseball diamond, and we want them to give the kids of this community the opportunity to play on the team out there or them to form a team. And that is part of the agreement too. If a kid from